Hi, I'm Sarah Watson, a visiting assistant professor of English at Haverford College in Pennsylvania.
And I'm S.C. Kaplan, an independent scholar and freelance academic editor based in Santa Barbara, California.
Today, we would like to share with you a digital project that we have been working on since about May 2018, called Books of Duchesses, Mapping Women Book Owners in Francophone Europe, 1350 to 1550. Books of Duchesses is a project that collects and presents information related to medieval women book owners. As the title of the project suggests, many of the women cataloged in the projects are duchesses, or similarly high-ranking medieval women, though we are gradually tracking down information about middle-class women book owners as well. The project currently covers a 200-year time period from about 1350 to 1550, and focuses on women from England and French-speaking regions of continental Europe, though we have also started to add women from other areas, including Spain and Germany.
So far, the project includes 85 women who together owned over 1,100 books. Some of the women in the project owned large libraries that included well over 100 books, while other women in the database owned, as far as we know, only the one. Some of the books that the women owned were manuscripts, that is, books that were made by hand before the introduction of the printing press, while others are early printed books created after about 1450. These books contain a wide range of texts, including romances, travel narratives, political treatises, and religious works.
So how do we know that these women engaged with all of these books? So I'm going to share my screen to show you some examples of the ways in which we connect women and books. Okay, so one way is through inscription. And you'll see here, this is a manuscript held at the British Library. And in the front of it, there are the signatures of two of King Edward IV's daughters, Princess Elizabeth and Cecily. And you can see they've written their names here in the book. Another way we can connect women and books is through patron portraits. So this is another manuscript held at the British Library, Harley 4431. It was a collected works of Christine de Pizan, a French author. And we can see her here, the author, presenting her book to Isabel of Bavaria, who was the patron of the manuscript. And so this allows us to connect this book to Isabel of Bavaria. A couple other ways we connect books to women book owners are through inventories and wills. So women would make inventories of goods when they moved from one household to another, and often those inventories included books. And another way we can connect books and owners is through wills. Women would leave books in their wills to daughters, sons, and even friends.
So what is the payoff to collecting and organizing all of this information about women and their books? First, it gives us a better sense of what types of things women were reading in the Middle Ages. In the same way that modern women tend to be associated with romance novels, medieval women are usually associated with popular texts rather than scholarly ones, and specifically with romances and devotional works. However, the data collected in our project suggests that medieval women were also reading political texts, legal texts, encyclopedia, and even war manuals. Another thing that the data in the project shows us is how active women were in the circulation in medieval book culture. So women sponsored the creation of texts and books and regularly passed books on to friends and family members. So they've played an important role in consuming and circulating books and their texts in the Middle Ages.
Okay, so that is a bit of scope and the aims of the project. And now we're going to show you how to use the project. So I'm going to navigate us to the project website right now. It can be found at BooksofDuchessesIntroVid.com. So this is what the homepage looks like. And if you scroll down, you're greeted with an interactive map of Europe. You're going to see here purple pins that appear on the map, and these are identifying locations where women book owners lived or traveled. So if you scroll in a bit, you can click on a specific location. Let's do Paris. And you see that what happens there is we get a list of women and their dates when they were at that location. And these women's names are hyperlinked, so you can click on one of these women. Let's do Isabel Bavaria. And then we come to her page, which has an image of her if possible, her family tree, a map of her locations, and then also her list of books. And then if we return back, we will tell you a bit more about using this page.
So while purple owner pins appear by default on the map, you can also choose to display books by clicking on that box and then running the search. Green pins identify locations where books owned by women were made, stored, or transported. So clicking on a specific green pin causes a list of books made there or transported there to appear, accompanied by the dates when the books were in that location. Extant books, that is, books that still survive today, are identified by their current library shelf mark, as in BNF Français 243. Non-extant books, that is, books that are noted in an inventory or will but that cannot be identified today, are designated NE1, NE2, etc. for manuscripts, and NEP1, NEP2, etc. for printed books. The books are also hyperlinked, allowing the user to click through to the book's individual page and learn more about the book's various owners and the text it contains. As you can see, book pages also include live links to other items in the database, including a list of the texts found within the book, and a list of individuals who owned the book, as well as a bibliography relating to the book's ownership.
Okay, so now if we want to find a bit more out about the owners of this book, we can click on one of the individual owners. I'm going to click on Margaret of Orleans. And we can do this and see the kind of other books that were in her library. So it looks like she had 10 books altogether. And so next to each of these books, you're going to see something like confirmed ownership by inventory. And so what this means is that we can securely connect this book to Margaret of Orleans because it was listed in an inventory that has her name on it. Some other examples we have here: confirmed by coat of arms. And as we mentioned earlier, a couple other ways we connect women to books are patron portraits, inscriptions, etc. Because connecting women to books can be challenging, we also have an option for designating ownership as possible rather than confirmed.
So if we return to the home page, we see the search bar to the left of the map, which allows users to define a date range that interests them, and or to search by owner, shelf mark, text, author, and tag. And tags relate to a genre or topic. For example, you might enter the search term romance or childbirth here.
Okay, so now that we've given you a basic tutorial of the project, we thought we would show you the project in action. So maybe you're taking a medieval literature course and you've just read Christine de Pizon's The Book of City of Ladies. This is a text written by a French woman writer, Christine de Pizon, about a female utopia where women are protected from misogynistic attacks. The conclusion of The City of Ladies explicitly identifies women as the intended audience of the text. So maybe you're wondering, did, quote, real medieval women own and read this text? You can actually go to Books of Duchesses to find out. So let's type City of Ladies into the text search box here and see what comes up. So we have City of Ladies, and then we hit search. Okay, so right away we see that although the text was written in Paris, it circulated widely within and outside of France. And if we start clicking on the pins, we see that the City of Ladies was owned by a number of queens in France, and then a couple of duchesses in England. So if we scroll down to the bottom here, we see kind of some totals. So we see there were a total of 9 female owners of this book. And then we can also see the name of the text here if we want to click through and find out more. So I'm actually going to do that now. So this is the text page for the Book of the City of Ladies. And we see here that it appeared in 8 different books. And then over here, there is ownership details for who owned this text. And this is a pretty long list, and it includes male and female owners. But as you'll see, it's the female owners who are hyperlinked and who we can click through to see more about. So overall, we can see that there was actually a number of real medieval women who owned and probably read The City of Ladies.
So the next question we might logically ask is, what other types of things were these women reading? To answer this question, we can click on the individual women to learn more. So if we click on Agnes of Burgundy and we scroll down, we see that she had 16 books in total. And some of these topics and genres are a bit difficult to identify at first glance. For example, what is Cléomades? If you click on the manuscript and then click on the text, you can see that it is tagged as romance, and a romance that actually had a female patron. If we go back to Agnes's page, we can also see a religious compendium. We see the City of Ladies, the Tristan en Prose, which is an Arthurian romance, and something called the Epistre Otea. So if we click on that to find out what it is, and then we click through to the text again, we see that the tags tell us it is a mirror for princes, which is something of a behavioral and political manual. And we see that it's also by Christine de Pizan. So Agnes owned more than one text by Christine. Maybe this second appearance of Christine de Pizan interests you, and you want to know not just how many women owned copies of the City of Ladies, but how many women owned text by Christine de Pizan more broadly. So we can go back to the map and search Christine de Pizan in the author field, because if you clicked on her name on the text page, it would actually take you to a different website to give you more information about her in general. So we've gone back to the home page, we've searched for Christine de Pizan, and we see that this turns up 19 women book owners and 47 different texts. This tells us not only that Christine de Pizan was a very prolific author, but also that her texts were owned by numerous women readers in both England and continental Europe.
Okay, that's about all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this, and we hope it was a helpful introduction to the project. If you have any questions about the project, please don't hesitate to email us at booksofduchesses@gmail.com. And you can also find this contact information if you toggle to the About/Usage page, and you'll see there is our email address right there. So thank you so much. We'll bid you farewell.
Thanks. Bye-bye.